11th of May, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi, Behar.
Hello.
Hello, Rabbi. Can't see you.
Okay, just one second.
Pasuk 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Ki Yovel Ki.
Also mute base, yeah.
Yeah. Kodesh Tiyeh Lachem Min Asadeh Tochlu Es Tivu Asa. So for it is a Yovel, it shall be holy to you.
Or rather, since.
You like since instead of for?
Right.
Since it is a Yovel, it shall be holy to you. From the field, you may eat its crop.
Right.
Okay, Kodesh.
This is right. It reminds us similarly to okay, it's a similar. We're going to see Rashi as explained. It's a similar idea which is stated about regarding Shemitah in Pasuk Zayin. Torah tells us the same thing. Gabe Yovel in here in our Pasuk. Says Rashi, yeah.
Okay, so Rashi says, it shall be holy to you. Tofeses dameha. It seizes its money. Ke hekdesh, like hekdesh, like something that's holy. Yachol heitzei I lechulin. One might be able to go out for the ordinary. Not sure what that means.
Oh, so let me explain this first. Means tofesis domeka hekdesh, meaning just like hekdesh, you have something holy, and then you exchange it with money. Then the money gets the kedusha of the hekdesh, and as the kedusha transfers to the money.
Ah, right.
Let's say somebody donates his a grandfather clock to hekdesh.
Right.
There's not much hekdesh can do with that. So what does it do? The gizbar, the treasurer of hekdesh, sells the clock at the best price, and then the money of that money equivalent of the clock now has the kedusha, gets the kedusha instead of the clock.
Right.
Okay, so says the pasuk over here that Yovel, the produce of Yovel also has a similar idea. Tefeses domeo kehektish, that the produce of the Yovel literally catches its money, meaning that if you exchange the produce of Yovel for money, then the money now gets the kedusha of a yovel produce, just like you would take an item of hektish and you would exchange it for money. Now the money would get the kedusha of the hektish. Okay, now yochel teitze hi lechulin. So I might think the actual produce, the yovel produce, okay, now no longer has any kedusha to it, and mamela can be eaten without restriction bechlal, unlike original yovel produce, which has to be eaten only with certain restrictions. So I might think that's happens here. Once you exchange it for money, the money gets the kedusha of Paris yovel, but the Paris themselves, the produce itself, loses its kedusha in the same way as an item of hektish. If you were to exchange it for money, the money begets kodesh, but the item no longer has a kedusha to it. Okay? Yochel teitze hi lechulin, Talmud loima. Therefore, the Torah tells us.
Talmud Lomar,
Yeah.
the Torah teaches us, it shall be. Behar vayasa tehei, that it will maintain its status.
Right.
Min hasadeh tochlu, from the field you may eat. Al yedei hasadeh.
So, by the way, I just want to just go back on what Rashi said. But Havyosa Tehei means the fruit itself always remains with its kedusha. So, just like the same din as Rashi's going to go. Rashi mentioned it before, but here too as well. Just as it's mentioned by Shemitah, so too is mentioned by Yovel. Just like Shemitah, the produce itself always has a din of Shmi's produce, so too by Yovel, the produce of Yovel always has a status of Yovel produce, even if you exchange it for money or some other item.
But you can't sell the produce of Yovel, can you?
You can't sell it commercially, but you can do an individual. You can do like a private exchange on a small scale. You're allowed to do it, as long as you don't weigh the produce and you don't. It's not. How should I say it?
But I thought that you could recoup your expenses, but you couldn't sell the produce itself.
So Tosfos in Sukkah says it's on a small scale. It's okay.
Really?
Just hold on a second. I'll tell you. The prohibition of sale is only on a large scale. Just if you hold on 1 second.
It's not yours.
Huh?
It's not yours.
The fruit can be mine. The land is not mine.
I thought the land belongs to the farmer, but the fruit does not belong to him.
Correct, but if I take them and I now claim ownership, like I'm a farmer and I have an orange grove. Right, so the actual rights to, I'll have to let everybody have rights to pick the oranges. But I can take those oranges and pick a certain, as long as it's not too large amount, Muslim Sholas Sudas, I can pick them and have them and say, this is mine. You can't come. Once I've picked those, let's say 5 kilos of oranges, you can't come along and take them from me.
Right.
Am I?
Right. So then I'm allowed to sell them. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so what this is telling me is that when I sell them, I might have thought that the oranges would lose their holiness.
Right.
And therefore the verse is coming to teach us that they don't. They're still holy.
Right.
So I sell the oranges.
And in addition, the money exchanged for those oranges also have a din of kedusha shvius, that you are limited how you can use that money.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Let's say I have oranges, and I now buy some of those. As you have oranges, and I buy some of those oranges from you. So I give you money, and you give me oranges. That money has got a din of kedusha shvius. What does that mean? That if you in turn now go and buy somebody else's grapes, let's say, those grapes have kedusha shvius.
You mean you go and you buy grapes that are from America?
Yeah.
Now those grapes become kedusha shvius.
Right.
You bought them with money. What happens to the money now?
The money, no, that's interesting. The money doesn't lose it. Since it wasn't the original shvius product, it doesn't, the money now loses its kedusha, and that kedusha is transferred to the grapes. But if now in turn you would decide to sell those grapes and exchange them for tomatoes, so now the grapes no longer have the din of kedusha, these American grapes, but the tomatoes do. And the tomatoes may have come from Turkey, well, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
You understand that it's, in other words, the actual original shvius produce, and now the pasuk's telling you here, who are in yovel produce, the original yovel produce has kedusha, and anything exchanged for it, one stage is also has kedusha. But the kedusha doesn't get, in other words, it doesn't. How should I say it? There's a word for it in math, where you have a progression. That it doesn't. No, it's not everything afterwards that gets the kedusha. The first one gets the kedusha, and then that kedusha gets transferred to anything in any future transactions, but only to the end one. Okay.
Okay. So
Now let's go to the next Rashi.
min hasadeh tochlu, from the field you may eat. Al yedei hasadeh, by means of the field. Ata ochel min habayis, you may eat from the fruit from the house.
Meaning, by way of the field, you'll be able to eat from the house. Which means, carry on, Rashi's going to explain.
She'im kala lachaya min hasadeh, that if it has been finished, kala is to finish.
Right. Meaning there's no fruit, there's no produce outside in the fields for any wild animals to go and eat.
L'chaya min hasadeh, for the wild animals. Oh, you've used it up. You used it up. Okay.
Or used up, or there's no longer, there's only a certain limited not shelf life, but I'm saying certainly limited time when the produce remains in the, let's say, fruit, let's say, can remain out in the field. After a time, either it spoils or
gets eaten.
gets eaten, right?
Tzarich ata, you are required the va'er min habayis. You are required to estimate.
No, not
I'm
estimate.
sorry, to eliminate
Yeah.
from the house. Okay, so in other words, you took some in your house. You've been taking it in your house in little bits, like you're allowed to, and you've been eating it.
Right.
Now you say, oy vey, there's nothing left in the field, but I've got some stocked up in my house. You've got
Right.
to take it out of your house.
And what do you have to do with it? Make it hefka. I'm just telling you. The apostle doesn't tell you this, but that's what Chazal say.
Oh, so in other words, you just declared hefker. You got to put it back outside.
Yeah, you declare it hefka, and you may not reclaim ownership on only what you require, what you're going to eat in the next 3 meals.
So you can still eat it, but
you can still eat it.
You got to declare it ownerless.
Right.
And what if you have more than 3 meals worth of produce in your house?
So technically, you cannot claim ownership on it. It has to remain ownerless. But that means anybody can technically come and take it from you till you've this what's called the zman habir, the zman of elimination has ended, and then afterwards you can then claim it again and bring it into your house or claim ownership on it. So, for instance, many people have this thing with there was oats are based in grape juice and wine. As in previous Shemitah years, certain what they did, certainly based in, they arranged with farmers that they would the farmers, let's say for instance over here with the wine, the farmers gave their grapes over to a particular winery, and the winery, through the auspices of the Bezdin, the winery turned it into grape juice or wine or whatever. And then then the Bezdin takes care of the sale. It's not really a sale. Takes care of the distribution of the wine and grape juice. And what Bezdin can do is they can charge whatever to defer their costs, to cover their costs of whatever it costs them to do this whole process. They can charge the public,
right,
not as a profit. So that's where. I had quite a bit of. I have quite a bit of grape juice and wine from this setup, as they say, through Oitzer Bezdin. And came Erev Pesach, I had to take it all out except what I intended to use for the Seder night and the Yom Tov. I had to take it all outside and declare it all Hefka. It was about 5 boxes, I think it was, something like that. And once I declared it, then I could not claim ownership on that again till after Pesach, because it's a suffix when the Zman Habir ends. When is the Zman Habir? So therefore, I had to do an Erev Pesach, declare it Hefka, and then not reclaim ownership till after Pesach. Okay?
Yeah.
One year, many years ago, about 30 years ago or more, must be 35 years ago, it was the first time actually they made Oitzer Bezdin with Carmel wines, and I had it was very good quality wine. It hadn't cost me that much, but it was good quality wine. And somebody came along and asked me after I declared it to be Hefka. He asked me, "What's this?" I said, "It's a wine." I said, "Well, can I take it?" I said, "What could I say? I can't say no." So he took it. box of Merlot wine, I think it was, or Shiraz or something. It was a good quality wine. Anyway.
Wow.
Fine.
Wow.
Meir, Pasuk Yud Gimel.
Yud Gimel. Okay, it says, Ishnat Hayovel Hazot Hashuvu Ish El Achuzato. Okay, so in this Yovel year, you will return, or they shall return, I guess. Tashuvu.
You plural.
Oh, you plural. Okay, return. Each man to his heritage.
Well, that's what it seems to tell me. Oh, I mentioned this yesterday. His heritable property.
Oh, his
inherited property.
Heritable property. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I missed it yesterday. Okay, anyway. So Rashi, Tashuvu ish el achuzato. Okay, so they shall return it each person to his ancestral property. Hare kivar ne'amar. So behold, it's already been said. V'shavtem ish el achuzato. Okay.
Yeah, that's Rashi's question. This pasuk is the Chayra tautologist, because we've already mentioned it.
Okay. Ella l'rabot amocher sadehu. Okay. The Ahmad bino Allah shechozeret la'aviv yovel. Okay, so Ella, I bought this the Rabbot
To include.
Okay, one who sells his field and his son stood up, I guess, and redeemed it.
I mean, it's like a colloquial phrase. Omad Benoy. It doesn't mean that. His son. I guess maybe in English you'd say something similar. Got up and redeemed it.
Oh, got up.
Don't need the getting up, actually. He went ahead and redeemed it.
Okay. So it returns, let's see, Zoheret Lavi to his father in the Yovel year.
Yeah. Actually, I translated, and his son came forward and redeemed it.
Came forward and redeemed it.
Omad came forward and redeemed it. So anyway, the idea is as follows. That even though the son is the one who redeemed the field, and the son will be the eventual owner of the field when the father dies, so I might think, okay, so the son can hold on to it in Yovel because he's going to get it anyway. So says the Pasuk's telling you, no, right now it belongs to the father. If the son redeems the field during those, let's say he buys it off his father during the 49 years, then at Yovel it goes back to the father, because as long as the father's still the owner, he's still the owner, and the son is like anybody else. So just like Tom, Dick, or Harry came along and bought the field from the father, they can only buy it till Yovel, and at Yovel it goes back to the father. So too, if the son bought it from the father, he's just like anybody else, and his acquisition of the field is only till Yovel, and then it comes Yovel, the field gets released and goes back to the father. Now, that's the interesting point is, though, obviously, if the father died before the Yovel, then the son would inherit the field, would get the field out in inheritance. So what would be if there were a number of brothers? So let's say there's three brothers.
Okay.
So and they all each one inherited a third of the field. Okay, and this son has already bought the field before. So his portion, obviously, so it doesn't go back to in Yovel. But the portion of the other two brothers does go back in Yovel, and therefore he's got to give 2/3 of the field, a third each to each of his brothers, then at Yovel. But his portion remains his.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. I think we have time for one more pasuk here. We'll do one more pasuk. Luke, pasuk Yud Dalet.
V'chi sim karu mimekar la misecha o kono miyad a misecha al to nu ish es achiv. So when you sell,
Well, I don't know if it's when necessarily or if.
if
If you sell a sale to your fellow man,
you sell a sale to your fellow, or you buy from the hand of your fellow, do not cheat one another.
right? Just 1 second. I want to get something here. Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Let's
Rashi.
see the Rashi. Yeah.
Okay. V'chi tam karu sim karu v'gomer. If you make a sale, etc. Lefi peshuto, according to its simple meaning,
Right. Kamashma.
mashma'o, as it sounds,
Yeah, it's to be understood like its literal meaning.
right? Va'od, and furthermore, yesh derasha, there is an exegetical interpretation.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Minayin. What is the source? She'ata mocher.
That when you sell,
When you sell, Mechor L'Yisrael Chaverecha. You should sell to your fellow Jew.
okay, patronize Jews.
Talmud Lomar,
Yeah.
the Torah teaches us, V'chi sim karu mi mimkar. When, or I guess if you sell a sale,
Right, sell something.
la
Then
misecha
machor.
mechor, to
Sell
your
it to your fellow man.
fellow, sell it. Uminayin, and from where she'im ba'asa liknos, that if you come to buy,
To acquire something, yeah.
Hinei mi Yisrael chaverecha, buy from your fellow Jew. Talmud Lomar, the Torah teaches us, O kano, or when you buy, miyad amisecha, from the hand of your fellow Jew.
Right. So basically the Pasuk's telling you, according to this drasha, make sure to patronize Jews.
Mhm.
Al tonu, do not cheat. Zu onaas mamon. This is onaas mamon is taking the 1/6.
Yeah, well, with no meaning, yeah, this is like deceiving, overcharging, overcharging somebody for a product or whatever for sale, moment, with money. We'll see there's two types of onah. Rashi, why Rashi's mentioning two onahs moment? Because later in Parsha, we're not going to be able to see it this week, but Parsha Yud Zayin also says again, you mustn't literally cheat your. No man must cheat his fellow man, right? And that's what
Right.
you're talking about, Noah's Dvorim, which is basically the difference is as follows. One is dealing with monetarily. Let's say you have a product which is worth 20 shekel, okay?
Yeah.
Then you can't charge somebody coming and undiscerning, he doesn't know what the price is, and you haven't got the price marked at all, and you charge him 25 shekel. Okay?
Yeah.
That is more than a sixth. 20, you could charge him 24 shekel, and that wouldn't be it wouldn't cancel the sale. However, person could come back later and he says, listen, I want my 4 shekel back. If you sold it for 23 shekel, then the sale is valid and the buyer has no claim against this being overcharged. But up to a sixth, which is really a fifth, up to 20% of the correct price, of the real price, up to 20% more, that's continuously says, Ajtus is which means a sixth. The sale is valid and no, he doesn't have to pay back what he charged, overcharged. Shtus, if it's a sixth, which really means a fifth, a sixth of the total, which is a fifth of the original price. So therefore, in our example, let's say the original price was 20 shekel, and we charged him 24 shekel. So the sale remains valid. He can't say, no, I don't want the sale, I want to give it back. But the seller has to give him the difference of the 4 shekel. But the buyer has a claim to get to be recompensed for the oversale. Okay, for being overcharged. And if he charged him 25 shekel, which is more than a sixth, overcharged, then the buyer can say, no, you overcharged me, think no sale. I don't want to have those sale. I mean, there they have a choice or whatever. If he wants to get his 5 shekel back and still have the sale stand, that's also possible as well. But technically, the buyer does not have to, is not forced to accept the product if the seller overcharged him more than a sixth. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. At this point, there's very actually, it's a whole parak in Bava Metzia regarding no, with basically the 4th parak in Bava Metzia, Hazov, discusses this whole thing of overcharging, underselling. Okay. Anyways, but there's quite complicated halachas involved. But by the way, a person should be aware of it. Nowadays, you see, the thing is follows. I'll give you a prime example, right? Let's say a can of Coke costs 5 shekel. Let's say I'll give you an example. That's the standard price. You go to your supermarket, it costs 5 shekel. And then you happen to be on a tiyul somewhere up in the Golan somewhere, middle of nowhere, and you want to be very thirsty, and you go into this kiosk, and he's selling you can of Coke for 10 shekel. Is that no? Is that overcharging?
No, not necessarily, because
No.
the price is more in that area because it's hard.
Yes,
to
right,
get there.
exactly. It's hard to come by. It's much harder. And as well, if he says specifically from the thing, I can be fully aware that the original price is 5 shekel, but here in my kiosk it costs 10. Then you buy it or leave it, whatever. But that's not considered overcharging, because overcharging, when we're talking about it, is where he deceives it. It's an matter of deceit. That's where the problem comes in. Okay. Anyway, we'll stop here. I wish everybody a very good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi. Thank you
Be
for
well.
your help.
Okay.
Have a good Shabbos, Me'er, and Yechiel.